60 degrees and show you that it is all-encompassing, then we could translate the image, but the technology isn't there yet.
Well, you've done a good job. Thank you very much, Dennis. Weather delayed the official survey by the National Weather Service just how many tornadoes there were. It turns out that the supercell that tracked off to the north and east produced 7 distinct tornadoes. The first 2 were the most devastating. The one that hit Comfrey had a path length of 36 miles. It was 1.25 miles wide. It was an F3. It did result in that 1 fatality in Comfrey. The second tornado, 18 miles long. This is the one that actually hit St. Peter. Again, 1.25 miles wide. It's something that most of us can't even comprehend. I'm sure a lot of people saw that cloud coming and didn't even perceive it as a tornado. The third tornado was an F2, about 1 mile wide, and then a brief F1 touchdown near Lonsdale. It was the second one that produced a path length of 5 miles, and it was 1/4 mile wide. This is what produced the damage in the immediate Lonsdale area. Tornado number 6 was an F2, 3 miles long, 1/4 mile wide, and the twister that skipped across Vermilion, only 100 yards wide and 1 mile long path length. This would be considered a typical Minnesota tornado. Now, these tornadoes were not typical, certainly not the F2s and F3s. Skies clearing out from north to south. We expect that clearing trend to continue.
All over the evening news. 6 years ago, a twister even stronger than the one that slammed into St. Peter or Comfrey rolled over Chandler, Minnesota. The town's comeback was not easy, and not everyone made it back. Here's WCCO's Dave Wildermuth.
Large tornado on the ground.
We watched it came in. It was ink black. You just couldn't see anything at 5:15 in the afternoon.
The date was June 16th, 1992.
Very large tornado on the ground. Strong inflow winds.
The twister was an F5, winds over 260 miles an hour, 2 notches stronger than the tornado that rocked St. Peter last Sunday. And when this one was through, so nearly was the tiny town of Chandler.
I've lived in this town since 1957, and I thought I knew the town like the back of my hand, but I went out there and I didn't know whose house was where. It was just like somebody took a razor blade and cut every house off at the foundation. I was put in there for the tornado.
Banker Dean Peterson had written the insurance for 2/3 of the town.
This is all new. Yep, every single house.
Every house but one had a claim. In a town of 250 people, 40 homes were leveled. Peterson wrote a book about it, collecting the stories of survivors. St. Peter's misery was nearly too much to watch.
If you wanted to sit down and cry, you know, we have a lot of empathy for those people. Certainly there's a lot of prayers in this town for people in St. Peter and Comfrey too. But, we know what they're going through, and it hurts.
It was 2 full years before Chandler got back on its feet. It was the story that people had come to expect, the small town banding together. But tragedy and disaster also have a way of exposing the not-so-subtle cracks in human nature. The shared misery in Chandler that was uniting them also caused stinging division.
There was anger from other people that, oh yeah, they're just getting ahead, you know, they didn't have anything before, and now look what they're getting. And, you know, I think we saw the dark underbelly of a lot of ourselves.
Betty Van Pearson was a volunteer spotter working for the county when the tornado hit her house back in Chandler. This is what she saw when she got there. The 2 kids she'd left at home were somewhere under that rubble. They'd been hiding beneath then 8-year-old Brandon's bed when the wall collapsed on it.
You hear a whole bunch of breaking and stuff flying around.
Eventually, Jamie heard her mom screaming for them.
I heard Mom yelling, "Where are you guys? Where are you?" And we both started yelling, and we're like, we're under Brandon's bed.
Under Brandon's bed. Instead, what her mother, Betty, heard was Brandon's dead. The Van Pearsons would take their insurance check and move out of town.
I remember walking through town and hearing other people complain, well, they should be sticking with us, and they shouldn't be, you know, jumping ship like this and everything. And it was just like, you know, and that's where I think we all have to make our own decisions and our own choices.
The people that stayed had their own issues. Lutheran pastor Bob Mortz.
Those who did not suffer any damage in the tornado felt extremely guilty. And it was almost like they were so uncomfortable that their roof had not been taken off or whatever.
If on the left there's where the grain